Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Practice Squad. I'm Jordan LaRoche, as always, joined by Henry Standage. Before I bring him up here in a second, I want to thank the Bottom Line, 22 Front Street. If you're downtown, come check it out. Great wings, great atmosphere, just great food in general, and our friends over at Miller Lite for helping us just make this a better show than what it was, and helping us with some future giveaways and some other things. So stay tuned for those. And Hank, with week 5 is done, how are you feeling about the league right now? And how was your Canadian Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah, it was. My family came up for Thanksgiving, and I do a sort of a thing where I won't touch food all day till dinner.
Yeah.
It's not like a health thing. It's more just like from great suffering comes great glory. But like my family and I got really after it Saturday night. So by like 5 p.m. on Sunday, I'm just like the worst version of myself. I'm like hungover. I'm like malnourished. I'm just like sort of just like football on the TV. They know not to bug me till I've had like some food.
Yeah, it's always that first beer on Thanksgiving that really hits you because that's the thing you're not eating.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was good. Another week where just like I feel like I still don't know who the good teams are and the bad teams are, which we'll get into. But yeah, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. We kind of just got the low key. I had a buddy over. Well, Jonah Goodman. We watched some football. We had some turkey, had some ham. Just kind of got the low key, but no, it was a good weekend.
Yeah, sweet.
But I'm excited for this week. We're going to change things up a little bit. We feel like this is a good point in the season to kind of, just take a mental note of what's happened this year, see where things are going, see what teams we like, see which injuries could play a big part in the rest of the year. Do you want to lead us off with this?
Yeah. So I was going to say the most surprising storyline for me is that there was a lot of talk this year about we might have the LA Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Two of the reigning champs versus sort of the team that had won the off season and the Chargers in a lot of people's mind. And you look at it and the LA teams are 5-4 combined, I believe.
Yeah.
Or is that right? No, they're 5-5.
5-5, yeah.
And the New York team, surprisingly, are 7-3. And I think if you had told people that before the season, they wouldn't have believed you. I mean, they wouldn't have even believed you that the New York teams would be 5-5, let alone 7-3. So the fact that we have the reigning champs and the team that spent the most money this offseason, had the most hype, sort of treading water a little bit. And you have the New York teams who this was probably their best weekend collectively yet. The Packers-Giants game was probably the best London game ever.
Yeah, it was the first time two teams over 500 have gone to play a London game.
Right, yeah, and I woke up probably like everyone else at like the end of the first quarter and turned on. It was just like a great game. The Jets sort of like managed to blow Miami out with their third string QB in. So I'm not sure the Jets and Giants will keep it rolling too much longer, but I'm also not sure if I believe that the LA teams are going to turn this around.
Yeah, because you look at the Rams right now, and they just look kind of lost out there. That offense that really set the league on fire last year just hasn't been able to do anything right now. Cooper Kupp's been locked up. Allen Robinson hasn't looked that great.
Well, it's just Kupp, really.
Yeah.
Like he's playing okay, but Akers has stunk.
Yeah.
And with the Chargers, they were down 14-0, and then, Herbert plays well. But they go for it on their own 46 on 4th and 2 with a minute left.
It didn't cost them, but still. But
I know, but they're up 2 points. And then the Browns miss a 54-yarder, very makeable. It's just like, and that's another storyline for me, is just how weird the coaching's been this year.
Yeah, and I think kicking as well plays a big part of that. But no, 100%. You look at the Giants right now, and this is a team that you and I didn't expect to do well. You look at the offense, there's no wide receivers on this team.
Yeah.
You have Daniel Jones just running on a bum ankle, and Saquon who could just miraculously just pull things out of his ass. No, they've been a really fun team. And a big part of that, I think, is Brian Daboll. He's going to be a lead runner for the coach of the year. Just looking at the way they're playing right now, a lot of fun to watch too. They're making the wildcat work. They're making all these trick plays work. It's just kind of blowing me away.
Yeah, I think Dayball would be the runaway guy right now for Coach of the Year. It looked like the Miami guy might be in the mix.
Yeah.
The Falcons coach has done a great job. Pete Carroll's
Yep.
done an okay job, but those teams are also under 500. So
Yeah, yeah. No, but I mean, New York's just kind of blown me away this year, and the NFC East as a whole. I'll touch on that a little bit later, but I mean that division's looking really good right now. You have the Giants 4-1, the Cowboys 4-1, and the Eagles 5-0.
yeah,
Like, usually just a toilet bowl of a division, but I mean just some weird storylines out of there.
yeah, and one of the most surprising things about that division is the Cowboys' defense
Yeah.
being basically, other than like the Niners, basically being the best defense in the league.
Yeah.
And Mike McCarthy, he gets rode on a lot, but he deserves a lot of credit for he loses starting QB week 1, and it seems like in every game too they're leading first to fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like they're never relying on Cooper Rush to make some miraculous 2-minute drill. They just play steady all game, control the game. Pollard and Zeke's not had a great year, but him and Pollard have still been effective as a duo. CeeDee Lamb hasn't even played that well, but
No.
the Cowboys, they're just controlling games, and it starts with that D.
And I think that's all you really need to do, especially with a quarterback who's not a starter in the league right now by any means. And there's playing it safe, and just like even Micah Parsons, he's had a good year, but it's really DeMarcus Lawrence that's really kind of running that defense right now. He's got really making all the plays.
Yeah. Do you have a storyline?
Yeah. Sorry, I lost it here. I mean, obviously we got to talk about the Carolina Panthers. Fired Matt Rule yesterday, 11-27 as the Panthers head coach.
I think they scored over 17 points once.
Yeah, and I can't remember what the exact stat was, but when the opposing team scored 17 points or more,
Right.
or no, even just 17 points, they won in 17.
Yeah,
it's
some
something like
crazy.
that. But it looks like it's going to be a fire sale in Carolina as well because
And they have some nice players.
They do. And which brings me to my next point. A report came out over the weekend that they're looking to eat salary and potential Christian McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson trades. I think right now for the Panthers, that's probably all you can really do. Just try and salvage some prospects, try and salvage some draft picks, and just sell house.
I was trying to figure out yesterday what is Christian McCaffrey's trade value, because he's a running back with a big contract,
Yeah,
which is the least sort of valuable thing on its face in the league, right?
64 mil over 3 years.
Now, he's also obviously a really good player, but I was like, if you're getting out of that deal, is it a second-round pick? Maybe you do a second and a fourth, and you get
Yeah.
McCaffrey. I'm not sure a running back making 18 mil a year can get you a first-round pick in return. And I
No.
think because it's a big name, a lot of people out there are assuming, it would be a first and a future second. I think it would be a lot less than people think.
Yeah.
I'd be interested. I think I'd rather have DJ Moore than Robbie Anderson. I lived the
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson experience as a Jets fan. It's very boom or bust. I think DJ Moore is probably a slightly better player.
Yeah.
But also on that defense, so there's some rumors about Brian Burns and some teams that might be looking to pick up a stud D lineman.
Yeah, and like you said, they have the pieces to move. So I think right now you're looking at the future for this Panthers team. It's got to be, I mean, a second rounder or a fourth rounder wouldn't be bad for McCaffrey at all. And he's kind of getting to the point in his career now where we're going to start seeing some decline potentially over the next few years. And it's the injuries, it's the injury trouble that just keeps coming up. He's missed a lot of time when he was younger. So he's going to keep missing more and more time as he gets older. So it's going to be a big risk bringing McCaffrey in, but at the same time, he goes to a good team. You can just push him over the edge, get a Super Bowl.
The Bills, I think there was a report that they're looking into it. But
Yeah.
also, so say you give up a second for McCaffrey, you look at Damian Pierce and Breece Hall, two running backs who won the second round this year, who are getting paid $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And it's just ugh. I mean, would you rather not just bring one of those guys in than pay McCaffrey 18? But yeah, I wouldn't out teams.
But I mean, regardless, Carolina's going to have to eat salary. But I mean, that's just the transition the league's going to be going through in the next few years. I think we're going to see running backs make significantly more money. and teams are going to start just going for younger halfbacks. I mean, there's no point bringing in a 26-year-old because in a few years he's going to be in his decline. So I think Anderson's probably the more intriguing option, and then potentially DJ Moore if the Panthers even are looking to get rid of him.
Okay, I feel gross about talking about the Panthers that long.
Where do you want to go next?
Where do I want to go next? I feel like at the end of the season, we're going to look back at the Bills' loss in Miami and be like, wow, they really could have gone undefeated.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of injuries that game, and the weather, I think it was like...
It was scorching hot.
It was like dangerously hot.
Yeah.
And they still should have won that game. It was a super weird game. But I feel like at the end of the year, when the Bills are like 14-1 through the first 15 or 16 weeks, and we're just going to be like, wow, this team really could have gone undefeated. Because every week I'm like, how on earth is this team losing a regular season game? Although next week will be pretty fun.
Yeah, but after next week, and I guess kind of the week after too. The Bills' schedule really lightens up.
They just needed to get through the first like 7 or 8, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, you go Jets,
They're
Vikings,
gonna kill
Browns.
the Packers at home. I'm not even counting that one.
No, but just the rest of their schedule is really easy, and you're 100% right. I mean, that would be the first lossless team since I don't even know when, but
the Pats.
Pats, yeah.
Although the Steelers somehow went 11-0 a couple years ago, and they weren't even very good. So, but
no,
the Bills
that's
definitely
right.
are.
No, the Bills are a much different team than those Steelers were, but I think you're 100% right. I mean,
also, if you look at the Eagles' schedule, it's also a complete cakewalk to end the season. It's they have Dallas this week. We have 2 great primetime games this week. Pittsburgh, Houston, Washington, Indy, Green Bay, Tennessee, Giants, Bears, Cowboys, Saints, Giants. Again, just like undefeated watch.
No, I mean 100%. I think the Eagles are primed to do it. I mean, that's another team I kind of want to talk about a little bit. But no, if we were just talking about the Bills, I mean that team just looks ridiculous right now, and they're down to a plus 340 to win the Super Bowl right now. I think before the season we're looking at like plus 500, plus 600. So that's gone way down. And if you look at the competition right now, the Chiefs are plus 600, the Eagles are plus 660. It's probably, I mean, the Bills just don't look like anyone can stop them right now.
Until they beat Mahomes, I'd take Mahomes in a playoff game because I think there's like a psychological edge there.
Maybe.
I do believe in that stuff. Okay, I really want to talk about the AFC West because we talked about the NFC East as the division that surprised people. Going into this season, we weren't asking if the AFC West was going to have 3 playoff teams. We were wondering if they were going to have 4.
Yeah.
3 seemed like a lock. And now it looks like the AFC East might have even more playoff teams than the AFC West. So Denver, I mentioned earlier there's been a lot of strange coaching this year as a lot of head coaches are transitioning to like analytics and going for it on 4th downs all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Denver's been the most like sort of forward-thinking analytical team, but they've definitely had the strangest coaching decisions this year. They've had like terrible game management, delay of games after timeouts, all that kind of stuff. Throwing the ball when you could just run it out and kick a field goal in a game where there's been no touchdowns. And just like how bad a hire that's been. And then the Raiders. Last night they played pretty well, but if you're relying on beating the Chiefs in Kansas to kind of get your record back into shape, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And the Chargers have been obviously pretty underwhelming as well. So it's going to get your take on sort of, do you think the AFC West we had the wrong perspective, and I mean everyone, or are they going to figure it out? Is it going to look better at the end of the year?
I mean, I look at the Broncos, I look at the Raiders, and it's really tough to kind of see where they go from here because obviously the Broncos invested a lot in Russell Wilson, in Nathaniel Hackett, and I mean, my God, it's absolute stinkers there right now, but I don't think we were wrong coming into the season. I mean, if you look at these rosters on paper, I mean, they're some of the best football teams in the NFL, especially Denver more so than Vegas. But even Vegas, going out getting Devontae Adams, they've had a good defense. They have some other good options on offense. for whatever reason, it's just not working. And I think last night it's a step in the right direction for Vegas. They still have a long way to go, but again, I think they need these little mental victories, and obviously it's a kick in the nuts losing to the Chiefs, a divisional rival, but
And they probably should have won that game.
it probably should have. Yeah, they had the ball with the right time left.
They're on the 50. It was like 4th and 1, and they threw some weird, like...
They just kept going for the end zone when they didn't need to.
Yeah.
But no, and we look at the Broncos and just Russell Wilson. That whole experiment just hasn't worked, and it's I like to think it's more coaching than Russell Wilson, but at the end of the day, Russell Wilson just looks like a different person out there.
Looks terrible. And Thursday was so bad, such a primetime game.
Yeah.
Everyone, you're seeing on Red Zone, oh, wow, the Broncos only had another 15 points today. Russ, not a lot of highlights. And then you see him just making terrible plays on primetime. That pick, which allowed the Colts back into the game, and the Colts were not driving 80 yards for a touchdown if they just kicked the field goal.
It was like 4th and 2, and they're tossing to the end zone.
Yeah, and then in overtime, they go for the win, and Russ just completely doesn't see a guy wide open on a slant, KJ Hamler.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, that's like the kind of mistake that like even Cooper Rush sees that guy and hits him, Like a game manager makes that.
But even that play, that was a 4th and 2 or 4th and 1 even, and I mean, God, there's never been another situation where Russell Wilson's team should have ran the ball instead of throwing it. But I mean, I kind of took a look at his stats.
Did you see the Sherman post-game press conference?
I didn't see Sherman, but I saw the Good Morning Football guys. He just teed off on Russell Wilson, saying he's kind of a fake personality. He's in the spotlight now. He just hasn't handled it well because. You look back at his time in Seattle, he was always the underrated quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. And now he's in Denver. He has the contract. He has the prime time games, and he just can't live up to it.
Yeah. Well, Sherman legitimately had like PTSD triggered by Russ throwing the pick there.
Oh,
After
that's
the
right.
game,
Yeah.
he was like, "Run the ball, run the!" Like he lost himself in sort of like the moment for a second. It was pretty crazy.
Didn't he have some comments about Russ as well? Saying like he didn't like him in the locker room.
Yeah, a lot of the former Seahawks have came out and been like, yeah, like there was a lot of friction there. They felt like Russ got too much credit. The Legion of Boom, you led that team, not Russ. A lot of weird vibes.
Yeah, but I just take a quick look at Russell Wilson comparing him to Geno Smith, and I mean Geno Smith's beat him in every statistical category. I mean,
Geno's beating a lot of guys in statistical categories.
Yeah,
to be fair.
but 118, 101 completions on 13 fewer attempts, 75% to 59% completion percentage, 113 passer rating to 92. I mean, the guy's sitting behind you for years, and he's just been the better player. It's just really kind of sad to see. Is Russ washed?
Yeah. I actually would probably say he is after 5 games. I don't think it's going to get a ton better, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. All right, you got anything else?
I was just going to say, I think a lot of people looked at the Steelers before the season. We were like, that team maybe doesn't look that good. But we were like, well, Tomlin's never gone under 500, so I'm sure they'll go 9-8. And then it's like, this isn't narrative based. Like it's chaos, and your team actually being good matters. And it looks like the Steelers are probably the worst team this year.
Probably. I think it's them, Houston, potentially Indy as well. But no, you're 100% right. It's just Kenny Pickett.
Well, Carolina's the worst team.
Probably.
I'd say it's probably the Steelers after them.
Yeah, but Kenny Pickett. I mean, it's just a young quarterback coming to the league trying to find his way. I'm you just gotta give him some time. And again, the Steelers just haven't looked like the Steelers of old. And I don't know. I think I'm not too worried about it. They'll be back in a year or two.
They have a brutal schedule.
They do. So I think this year is just a write-off for them, realistically. You get Kenny Pickett just to build some confidence, get him some action.
What if they got the first pick in the draft? They should probably just take Bryce Young and figure it out with Pickett, trade him for a second-round pick.
Maybe. Or you help him out, or just get a good defensive piece.
That might be a storyline that pops up if they keep losing.
Definitely. But then again, it's first-year quarterbacks. I don't think they're in any kind of rush, really. I mean, we've seen a couple of guys that just kind of flake out after being the starter in their first year in the league.
Yeah. Time for the weekly awards for each game, starting with the Miller Lite Game of the Week. And this was not an easy week to choose a game of the week.
No.
Not like a lot of barn burners this week. So I actually ended up going with the game last night. Division and rivalry. Historically, these teams have always played each other tight. We got to see Mahomes throw, I think, 4 second-half touchdowns. So that's always a delight. And yeah, Devontae Adams played great. And the Raiders, again, Josh McDaniels, bad first job coaching in Denver almost 10 years ago.
Yep.
And he's came into the Raiders, and he has not changed the notion that he is a much better assistant coach than a head coach.
And he was supposed to be the offensive guru. And if you look at this Raiders offense with some of the weapons they have, it just hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. But no, that game that was last night. Yeah. No, the Chiefs just look like they lost all those weapons on the offense with Tyreek Hill, but they haven't changed at all. I mean, Patrick Mahomes just throw the ball to anyone and it'll work.
Travis Kelce had 4 touchdowns on 25 yards receiving.
I hate that so much.
That's got to be like the most efficient 4-touchdown game ever.
How many receptions?
7. He averaged 3.6 yards of reception.
God.
His longest was 8 yards.
No, but the Raiders had that last drive in the fourth quarter, and they just couldn't move the ball up. They kept going for these 5-yard out routes to Hunter Renfrow. That's just they couldn't move the ball fast enough.
Yeah. And it's a good thing this game was good because after the Thursday game and the Bengals-Ravens game, which was a huge letdown, I think people would have rioted if this game had also been a bummer.
Yeah, I think it was just too little, too late for the Raiders in the end there.
Yeah, and like I said, I personally would take the Chiefs to come out of the AFC right now.
Yeah.
Just because I believe in, look, the Bills had them last year, 13 seconds, and I'm just going to take Mahomes until the Bills can get over the mental hurdle.
No, I'm 100% with you there.
Okay, what's your game of the week?
My game of the week was the Chargers and Browns. It was a close pick for shooting yourself in the foot award, but it did end up costing them. So
I mean, if the Browns had hit that field goal, that would have been the easiest layup of the Plaxico Burr shoot yourself in the foot award ever.
No, but like I said, it didn't burn them. But the Browns were so close to just pulling out a winning record, but it just kind of fell through in the end. But I mean, a great game. Good. The offenses were both clicking. Jacoby Brissett threw it for over 230 yards, which we haven't seen him do much at any point during his career. So, and obviously the Browns backfield just does what they do. Nick Chubb had a monster game. I think they did 3 touchdowns between them with Kareem Hunt. So, just a fun game to watch.
Yeah, and Chargers offense was able to come back, but again, don't feel great about them as a team.
No.
Not a super strong performance.
Keenan Allen's still out, but again, Mike Williams led that team last year, and he just hasn't been able to do it. He just hasn't looked as good this year.
No, he hasn't. Okay, I'm gonna go to my. I can't believe the Jake Paul. I can't believe I enjoyed that as much as I did, and that's the Giants-Packers game. Now I know you mentioned earlier first London game where both teams are over 500, but it didn't really feel like a juggernaut matchup when the Giants were going against the Packers in London. This one had a stinker written all over it, and it was the most wonderful start to the day.
It was.
It was a great game. The Giants played with so much passion and drive, and they managed to score 27 points despite their leading, despite guys like Richie James and Marcus Johnson, who I've never heard of, being pivotal in the passing game. Saquon had a monster game, but that's sort of expected at this point.
Yeah.
And they held Rodgers to 220 yards, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon to under 100 yards rushing. And Honestly, a huge win.
I mean, we're talking about Brian Daboll a little bit earlier, and you kind of saw his effect in this game because Aaron Rodgers he likes to snap the ball when the defense kind of in that substitution. So you can kind of I think there's one point where the Giants had like 6 DBs on the field, and because they want to lock out the pass, but Aaron Rodgers switched to a run. They tried to make a substitution, but before Aaron Rodgers could snap the ball, Brian Daboll held the substitution, and it blew up the play. And you kind of see these little things that Brian Daboll does so much better than other coaches in the league right now. He's actually planning against the player and the quarterback because he knows his tendencies. Which, I mean, for the Giants, if they just keep going into games this prepared and this fiery, who knows where this team could end up.
Yeah, and the NFC doesn't have a lot of good teams, so there will be a 7th seed that I think could surprise a lot of people. It's still early enough that the Giants could end up only with 7 wins or something. But
yeah, but even then, the Giants
they've matched their win total from last year.
Yeah, and the Giants, their schedule isn't too bad for the rest of the year.
No, they have a Jacksonville, Seattle, Houston, Detroit 4-game run here after they play Baltimore after the bye.
And then...
Or not after the bye, just Baltimore.
But even in Dallas, you play Philly later on in the year. I mean, this very well could be a playoff team.
Yeah, and they probably just only need to get to 9 wins in the NFC. Okay, what's yours?
Mine was the Saints and the Seahawks as well.
Yeah, I was gonna do this, but I figured you might, and we talked a lot about the Seahawks-Lions game last week.
Yeah.
It turns out it might be the Seahawks who have the magic good game sauce, and not the Lions.
Maybe, but I mean, this game had all the makings of a sleeper. I mean, the Seahawks. I think it's just on paper with the Seahawks at this point with me mentally, because every time they go out, they play good football. It's usually a good game as well. Yeah. But the Saints, on the other hand, with Andy Dalton was Andy Dalton. You can't really expect too much from him, but the run game was just ridiculous for the Saints. Kamara, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns. Sorry, Taysom Hill did that. And then Kamara, 193 yards. I mean, you don't really need to throw the ball when you have 2 guys running like that.
That's crazy, yeah. Taysom Hill had like 35 fantasy points, I saw.
And he's unrostered in our league.
Wow, okay, noted.
But no, Geno Smith was good, but the Saints just seemed to manage the game better. But again, right down the wire that game, I'm drawing a blank on the Seahawks running back's name, Kenneth Walker.
Right, because Penny got hurt.
Yeah, I mean he just went off as well. So I always like seeing the teams run the ball well, and this is a prime example of that.
Mm-hmm. And next, the Plaxico Burris Award for team that shot itself in the foot this week. 2 weeks ago, the Jags beat the Chargers 38-10, and they were probably the story of the week. It looked like they've really turned a corner, and then they've had 2 really horrid weeks back-to-back. 6 points against Houston at home this week. They lose 13-6, divisional matchup as well, and just a terrible loss. Trevor Lawrence threw a atrocious interception late in the game. At a pivotal moment.
I mean, that team just looked awful. I mean, Christian Kirk did nothing. And I mean, Trevor Lawrence, 2 interceptions. He's kind of flatlined a little bit, but that's the guy I can see getting out of it.
I'll probably have him this week to have a big bounce back, but this is just a big loss. The Colts managed to win on Thursday, and Tennessee has won 3 straight.
Yep.
So it looked like the Jags might win that division for a week or 2 there, but now they've fallen behind the pack just a little bit.
I still think they can catch up.
Yeah.
I mean, that team's fiery enough.
Gotta beat Houston, though. You get to play them twice. You gotta take advantage of that.
100%.
So they shot themselves.
And I have a little bit of a different interpretation of shooting themselves in the foot this week. And it's the league shooting themselves in the foot, or the refs, sorry.
I like this.
With the Bucks and the Falcons. And it all came down to a roughing the passer call in the fourth quarter that might be the worst call I've seen in an NFL game.
Until the one on Chris Jones last night.
Yeah, yeah. And then you had the other one with Carson Wentz. It kind of just stepped on his foot. But no, I mean, for a game to come down to that play, in the fourth quarter. Thank God it was week 5 of the regular season, but and not a playoff game. But the Falcons managed to keep in it and just gave them a bit of a scare. But it did end up it costed the Falcons. But yeah, just a rough look for refs in the NFL right now.
Falcons 5-0 against the spread.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just
Ta-
like
take-
and they should have had the chance to go and win this game yesterday.
No, I mean, credit to them. They managed to keep it a game, which, I mean, I didn't expect them to do against Tampa Bay for sure. Mariota looked okay, but and Cordell Patterson's still out. But, I mean, they didn't even throw the ball that much that game. I can't remember what Mariota had. I think it was like 170, 180 at most.
He never has great stat lines, to be honest.
No.
And they had no Pitts this week.
Yep.
They didn't even they had no Patterson.
No Patterson.
But yeah, Arthur Smith is doing a nice job in his second year as their coach.
Yeah, and again, just another team that can play spoiler later on in the year. You want to? What was your shooting themselves in the foot?
Jags.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
Okay, the Sammy Paradise I'm Ruined Award for the team that ruined the most parlays, teasers, bets. I have the Patriots shutting out the Lions 29-0. I think a lot of people like the Lions money line as +3 underdogs, and I think a lot of people like the over in this game as well.
Yeah.
What people didn't anticipate was 0 points from the Lions and the Bailey Zappi Patriots putting 29 up on them.
He did 29 with 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I know some people who had teased the Lions up to +10 in this game.
Jeez.
Some people who had put the over-under to like 38 and taken the over. And I know a lot of people got screwed this week by that one.
Yeah, I didn't think to put that one there because I put it in my Shakespeare in Love award, but no, but 100%. The Lions' offense has been their lifeblood this season, and to put up a donut is just not great. And Amon-Ra St. Brown did nothing. Jamal Williams did nothing. Craig Reynolds actually led the team, or was like second on the team in receptions. It was just a weird game overall for the Lions.
I saw Craig Reynolds have some big catches.
Yeah.
And I honestly look like I'm faster than him. Like guys he would catch like a nice little wheel route down the sideline. I'd be like, oh, he's gone. And like linebackers were catching up to him. And he's like a running back.
But
Craig Reynolds kind of catching a stray there, but
is Josh Reynolds on the Lions as well? Is that actually his brother?
Yeah. I don't know. Could be.
But no, the Belichick Patriots just defense just seems to get it done against weaker teams, and they locked up Detroit.
Mm-hmm. What is your
I'm ruined.
Yeah.
I had the Colts and Broncos. We won't talk too much about that because we had that for.
I had Colts, and I said last week doing this with you. I really, really shouldn't take the Colts money line, but I want to, and then I ended up doing it, and I got it. First time Matt Ryan I've ever won a Matt Ryan bet.
Yeah, honestly,
I'm like
probably
1
me too.
for 30 now.
Good Lord. But no, they're just, I mean, a stinker of a game. We spoke about it a little bit earlier in our last little segment, but with some weird coaching, why are you not running the ball? But overall, we didn't really talk about this. It was a great defensive game. A lot of really solid defensive plays on both for both teams. And if you like defense, I mean, it was a great game to watch. But for the rest of us, it's just a bit of a dud.
I saw somebody did a breakdown of sort of Amazon's contract with the NFL. It's like $78 million to broadcast that game.
Good Lord.
And we have the Commanders and the Bears this week on Thursday. So
I mean,
Amazon not getting great bang for buck yet on their $13 billion deal.
Yeah, but that Washington Bears game could be entertaining. It's just a really sloppy football game.
Yeah, I mean, sure, like watching paint dry could be entertaining too if like a monster truck came through the wall. We'll see. Honestly, I might take the Commanders in that just because I think they're better and it's a pick 'em.
Yeah.
It's a tough one though.
Your Shakespeare in Love or your I'm Ruined as well.
My I'm Ruined was the Lions Pats. Shakespeare in Love for the
Yeah.
game that I just was most likely to nap through, and I definitely did nap through this one a little bit. Cowboys Rams.
Yeah.
Looked like a good matchup on paper, but Cowboys controlled the game the whole time. There was one awesome Cooper Kupp play.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it for the Rams side of things. And then with Cooper Rush back there, the Cowboys are never going to be a super exciting throw the ball downfield team. Pollard had a huge run for a touchdown. And then, just game management.
Yep.
This game, it was 16-10 at half, and it finished 22-10. And that second half was a complete snooze fest.
I mean, when you let Max Everett throw over 300 yards and only get one touchdown, I mean, you're doing something right there. But Cooper Rush only threw for 100 yards. But you're right. It's the run game that's just leading this Cowboys offense right now. Pollard, who had a really slow week last week, came out, had a big game, beating Zeke on substantially fewer rushes.
Mm-hmm.
And Zeke is just kind of looking a little slower out there right now for me,
Yeah.
which we kind of expected.
It
But
might be those 300 carries he had every season in his first 4 years.
it might be kept coming up to bite him. But no, just a well-managed game from the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, I guess we'll talk about this in a sec, but Cowboys, Philly next week.
Yeah.
And Chiefs, Bills, best pair of primetime games so far. But okay, that wraps up the categories. Okay, now's the time of the show where we look ahead to the next week's games, talk about who we'd pick in each game. God, it'd be nice if we could go back and look at our picks throughout the whole season. But
I know. I think I have nothing else to do today, so I'm gonna sit down and go through some
you're
old
gonna
tape.
do it?
I'm gonna go through some of the
You're
tape.
gonna grind some tape?
Maybe. We'll see.
We got a tough Thursday night game. If you've been delaying something, maybe you haven't taken your girlfriend out in a while because there's been too much good football on, this might be your opportunity. Commanders, Bears in a pick'em in Chicago. Well, not quite a pick'em. You can lay a point with the Commanders.
Yeah.
+1. I'm taking the Commanders. I think they're
Probably.
slightly better. I've still seen them beat the Jags in week 1. And I have taken them a few times since. Hasn't hit. The Bears are tough, man. So give me the Commanders.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably never pick the Bears to win a game this year.
Yeah, exactly.
But even then,
Are
Washington.
the Bears really going to be 3-3?
No. But
Or does it make more sense the Commanders would be 2-4?
yeah, you're right there, 100%. But Washington's offense, I have more faith in them. I just have more faith in the club as a whole.
Great. So we're both taking Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
It's
which
going to be terrible.
the Patriots and the Browns.
This is
Browns?
one of my locks.
Really, it's a lock for you.
I'm over the Browns. I was really into them the first
Oh.
4 weeks of the season. I've broken up with them, and I'm rocking with Belichick. Since that Packers game, I was like, oh, Belichick's in the kitchen again. He's
Yep.
cooking.
Bailey Zappi.
Freaking masterclass this week, shutting out the Lions 29-0. I can get the Pats +135 on the money line, easy. He knows Brissett. Brissett was a Pat. This is going to be like our Patriots 25-10 win.
Yeah, I can honestly see that because, I mean, the Browns stunk. The Browns have stunk for a little bit now, and I mean, I think I'm kind of on that edge. I think I need to see another loss where I really kind of separate myself from them. But Bailey Zappi looks serviceable. I can't remember.
I think Mac plays this week too.
I think so. So maybe that could throw a wrench in some things the Patriots have going, but we'll have to wait and see. But I am going to go with the Patriots here.
Okay. Yeah, and that line's -3 in Cleveland for the Browns.
Yeah. 49ers and the Falcons. 49ers are -5.5 right now. If you're looking at this team, this Falcons offense is a bit depleted. And I think this 49ers defense is going to clamp them up.
So you're taking the 5.5?
Yeah,
Like Falcons 5-0 against the spread.
I know.
The move probably tees them up over 7, and then you hope it's a touchdown game.
Yeah, I'm worried if Mariota can handle the 49ers defense.
The sweet spot's probably like Niners -2.5 and Falcons +7 as well, and the game probably falls in between there.
Yeah.
It's in Atlanta. I would say this is a stay away just because the Falcons are sort of intimidating to bet against for me at the moment right now.
Maybe, but potentially an under game, 43.5. It's low, but I don't love either of these teams' offenses.
Yeah, that could be an under for sure. Okay. The Jets.
Oh.
The Jets. The 3-2 Jets of the juggernaut AFC East. Jets defense is good, man.
Yeah, it is. No,
I'm not saying our offense is lights out, but our defense is legit good.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's nice seeing the Jets as single point underdogs in Lambeau. This line like last year would have been like 18.
Robert Saleh is looking like a rich girl with all these receipts he has, but
Yeah.
no, I mean I like the Jets. I think they're kind of just chugging along. They kind of found their groove, and I think this is a great point in the season for them to just kind of go on a little run here.
I'd say this is a stay away because after what the Giants did to the Packers, it's like, do I really want to lay the Packers 7 at the moment?
No,
unless
but
they're facing like Carolina.
No, but I like the Jets and what they're doing, and the Packers have just kind of fallen off the map for me.
So you're taking Jets plus 7?
I might move that to 6.5, but yeah, 6.5. That goes
and go with the Packers.
probably go Jets.
Oh wow! So you're gonna move it under a touchdown.
Sorry, I meant 7.5, not 6.5.
I see. Yeah,
that's my bad.
I would say this is a stay away. The Jets will be able to kind of, they have amazing cornerbacks. So
Yeah.
and the Packers don't have great wide receivers, and they have a decent run defense. And the teams that killed the Jets are the teams with good tight ends because C.J. Mosley couldn't cover us on a passing down.
No, and
I don't know, man. I said take Miami last week, classic Jets letdown game, and then we won 40-17. So I'm just like too rose tinted at the moment.
And the Packers, for me, they just keep falling into this habit of just going for shotgun passes all the time. So if you can lock up those wide receivers, you're really gonna hurt the Packers.
Take the under 46. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I like that.
Jags Colts. Of course, the Jets, we ruined our 90 seconds a game rule.
Yeah.
We were doing really well before. Jags Colts. This is so tough. Colts looking a little better. Obviously, the Jags beat them, what was it, 25-0 3 weeks ago?
Yeah. I think
the Jags own the Colts, too, historically. They've won all these matchups in recent years.
And like you said it earlier, you said you were going to pick the Jags to go for a big comeback here or bounce back. And I'm riding with you.
Just give me that plus 115 money line.
Yeah, and it's a big test for Trevor Lawrence to see how he can rebound from a couple bad losses.
Do we know if Jonathan Taylor's playing?
I don't believe so. I think he's out for a little bit.
Then you gotta take the Jags here. You can't take the Colts minus 2.5 after what we saw 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, no update right now. So looks like he's going to be out.
Okay. So we're both Jags on that?
Yeah.
Vikings, Dolphins. I think this line, it's -3 for the Vikings in Miami. I think this line, because we're going to find out, they're not going to play Bridgewater.
No.
That team cannot play anyone who's went into concussion protocol the week before. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but even then, he wouldn't have played today regardless, I don't think. Or, sorry, not today, on Sunday.
But we're going to find out it's going to be Skylar Thompson again, and that line's going to end up being Vikings -6. So just take the -3 today.
Yeah, I mean, actually, this isn't going up till Thursday, but we'll put the word out.
Put the word out. Use our Twitter, yeah?
Yeah. Check us out on social media, Practice Squad TO.
Yeah. I think this line's going to go higher,
Yeah,
so it
100%.
just seems like you take it. The Vikings are somehow 4-1 despite having played well in one game.
Kirk Cousins completed his first 17 passes last week. So they're not looking too bad right now.
Yeah. They're not beating, again, the Bears just hung around today.
Yeah.
It does make me feel good about their defense that the Bears were able to complete 17 passes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's
it's a good amount.
3 times the Bears average.
I mean, that was half the.
That's like a Bears 3-week total usually.
That was half the receptions the Bears had going to last week.
Mm-hmm. Bengals Saints. Oh, this is my number one of the week. Number one lock of the week. The Bengals team total over 22.5. The Saints D has didn't look great against the Seahawks this week.
They haven't looked good this year in general.
Yeah. I think the Bengals figured out they get the ball down the field this week. I think That you can get the -2.5 is fantastic. I think
Yeah.
Saints are losing again this week. I think Bengals are gonna have like a 35+ point game, and I'm rocking Cincinnati big time this week.
Yeah, I'm just checking on James Winston quickly. I don't see anything in
Well, he
him.
has a broken back.
Yeah,
That's
so-
not gonna get better throughout the season. He might
Yeah.
play, but it doesn't scare me.
Yeah, no, and even if he does come back, he's not good. He's gonna be a fraction of his old self. But it's gonna be Andy Dalton again, and it's Andy Dalton.
I think the Bengals are riding the ship this week big time
Yeah.
on offense. And like I said, their team total over-unders 22.5.
Yeah, I'm taking that for sure. And then we go Ravens and Giants. I think this is going to be a big test for the Giants. This is just a bit of a reality check for them. Kind of see where they're at, and 5.5 spread for this game. I think I like the Giants, honestly.
It's too high, but I have a rule.
Yeah.
Anytime the Ravens are facing like a team I think is mediocre or worse, I always take Ravens spread because they always beat the crap out of those teams.
Yeah, but the Giants are a fun story, though.
Yeah, no, I totally get taking the 5.5. I
Yeah.
think this will be a blowout though.
All right, I'm sticking with my Giants. I think just what they've done this year is, what Brian Dabble has done this year has just been remarkable, and I think he's gonna get his boys ready for Lamar.
Okay, Bucks Steelers. This line being 8
Yeah,
is a little annoying, and
I-
I still have a little bit of that like Tomlin psychology where I'm like, oh, is Tomlin? You know, they just got blown out. Is he gonna get the guys to bounce back and maybe
Yeah.
not win? But is this gonna be like 21-17?
I can see this being a close game because Tom Brady's just looked mediocre this year, and I guess just Tampa Bay has in general. So,
That team again, it's a really good defense on
Yeah.
Tampa. So maybe Pickett has a nightmare. I guess I'll take
but
the Bucks minus 8.
He just had the Bills, so I don't think it gets much worse than that.
No, I know, but he also put up 3 points against the Bills.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But no, I think this is realistically a stay away from me. I don't think the Buccaneers can score enough points to separate this game by 8.
Yeah, I would agree. If I had to though, I'd take the Bucks just because like I don't want any piece of the Steelers.
Yeah. And the Panthers and the Rams.
When do you see a line of 11 in a game?
Yeah.
Rams -11 at home. What is that about?
It doesn't make sense to me.
They
but
don't want us to have 10, I guess.
they don't want us to have fun. But no, probably stay away realistically.
Give me the Panthers. New coach coming in, firing up the guys.
Didn't they just promote assistant coach?
Yeah,
That
that means the guys probably like him.
But it's not a new voice, though. That's the thing. I mean, I've had this issue with clubs hiring their assistant coach as an interim head coach. Nothing changes. Not much changes.
Well, I'm not taking the Rams -11, so
No.
give me the Panthers.
Yeah, I don't like Baker Mayfield either, so I'm probably going to stay away from this.
Apparently, it's gonna.
Oh,
be,
that's right. He got hurt, right?
Yeah, so it's gonna be PJ Walker
Yeah.
this week. PJ Walker somehow
Yeah.
racked up like 20 career starts, and I have no idea how.
No, but even last year when he started a couple of games, he looked pretty good. And
He's like the guy who's in like the XFL or something.
yeah,
right?
it was.
Yeah.
I think it was the AFL.
Okay. Yeah.
But even then, I feel better with PJ Walker back there than Baker Mayfield right now.
Cardinals Seahawks. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
Just
Cardinals look. I think D-Hop's back this week.
no, one more week
One more?
suspended. Because this
Right.
would be the 6th game.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, the over-under's 51 as well, and I know that the Seahawks have played in these high-scoring games, but at some point, those unders are going to start hitting.
Yeah, and the Cardinals have a decent defense.
Yeah, the Seahawks do not.
No.
But
But Kyler Murray's looked brutal this year.
yeah, I think it's just their coaching, man. It's
Yeah, we spoke about that a little bit in the off season. Kyler Murray had some comments about Kingsbury's late game decisions, and I remember he took some calls in preseason as well.
mm-hmm.
So maybe this is that just coming rearing its ugly head around again.
Yeah, this is a really tough one to pick. If I had to do anything, I'd probably hit Seahawks money line again. Hit it
Yeah.
last week versus the Saints. Kind of felt like I deserved to hit it. Didn't.
I think the Seahawks bounce back.
I gotta say, I hold no sort of envy about the Seahawks revitalizing Geno Smith, obviously like Jets development player, and I think it's because they gave us 2 first-round picks and a third for Jamal Adams. So if any Seahawks fan feels good and thinks they got one over the Jets, you didn't. The 13th overall pick we got from you, Elijah Vera Tucker, might be the best O-lineman in the league. Played left tackle last week, right tackle this week.
Jeez.
Plays guard usually at a high level. He's like a complete stud. And yeah, I like Garrett Wilson too. So enjoy Geno, Seahawks fans.
Garrett Wilson's been a stud this year.
Bills Chiefs.
Bills and Chiefs. Game of
Why the hell is this at 425?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
But I mean, a pretty early lock for Miller Lite game of the week. But the Bills are at -3. They're the favorite
In Kansas City.
in Kansas. A 54 over under. I don't know.
I'm taking Chiefs +3
yeah.
because I get the field goal. Come on.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You may as well enjoy this game. Take the over.
Yeah. You want more points in a game like this.
Yeah.
And then we go to Philly, where they got the Cowboys. NFC East matchup. 2 teams that have been really hot.
I hate lines of 5.
Me too, but I think this could be a very good game as well.
I really like the under. I've already taken it. It was under 43. Now it's under 42.5. I really like this under. I think this is going to be a really low-scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how Dallas is going to have to play this year. And
Yeah, and Philly is a good D.
yeah, that's a great call on that. I do like that a lot as well. And if I'm looking at the money line, I'm probably taking the +5 on the Cowboys side. Even though I do think Philly will win, I think that Dallas will keep it close.
Yeah, a little 20-17 or something.
Yeah. And then our final game of
Can
the
we
week.
flex this game out and put Bills Chiefs on Monday?
Actually, like,
I have to watch the Broncos on primetime again. That's the third primetime game, is it not?
I think they have like 2 or 3
Broncos
more.
Seahawks week 1.
Yeah.
The Colts game this week.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
There's at least one more.
Oh my God.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but we have to wait till week 11 to flex schedule.
Yeah. Just silly, meaningless rules that we've made up.
Yeah.
Give me the Chargers. Oh, wow. This line was -3 when I looked last night.
It's
-5.
I'm still probably taking the Chargers,
Yeah,
man.
give me the Chargers. Give me the Chargers.
If the Broncos don't change anything, you're not expecting a different result, and I don't see Nathaniel Hackett changing much.
The thing that sucks is LA doesn't have a home field advantage, so that doesn't make me feel great. It'll be as many Broncos fans there. But yeah, at some point the Chargers gotta open this thing up, man. And yeah. Regardless, Chargers -5.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Hey, and that will be it for episode 11 of the Practice Squad. For Henry Standage, I'm Jordan LaRoche. We want to thank our sponsors here at the Bottom Line. Come check out the locker room at the Bottom Line, the podcast studio where we are right now. I do all the production. You can find that at the Locker Room BL on social media platforms. And Miller Lite for helping us out every week as they do. The official beer of the NFL. And stay tuned for some more giveaways and maybe some bar nights.
It hit on Thanksgiving.
It
the
did.
Miller Lights were hitting.
Oh, yeah. But
You know when they weren't hitting? I didn't have Miller Lights on me. And what did the Blue Jays do? Blow an 8-1 lead.
we didn't even talk about that. But you were there, right?
So I tweeted this. So this happened to me. My family arrives. Jays are up 8-1 in like the 5th or whatever, or 9-5. We go to dinner. I come back, and it's a tie ball game. And I think everyone had that experience where it's like, what happened?
Yeah, like I wasn't watching the game. I don't really care about
And
baseball.
the
but
2019 Raptors stock continues to soar.
yeah,
The only team that will never let us down.
I mean, I said on my hockey show on Friday that the Jays are doing their best rendition of the Leafs losing in the first round. But I mean, that might be one of the worst playoff losses in sports because
So it's the largest lead ever given up by a home team in the playoffs.
yeah, and That makes, I think Toronto now has two of the most embarrassing playoff losses in sports history. You have this one, and then you have, I think it was 2013, losing to the Bruins, had the 4-1 lead in the series, had a 4-1 lead in Game 7, lost in overtime. So Toronto fans are in a bad mental state right now.
Man, that was a tough one. That really put a damper on Saturday evening for a little bit. Had to get over it because people were over, but man, tough one. Seattle too. Seattle's hardly an alpha male of a sports city. Like if we blew an 8-1 lead to like the Red Sox, I'd be like, of course we did. It's like the Seattle, really? Anyway, Miller Lite.
But anyway, check us out on social media at the Practice Squad TO. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a follow on Spotify if you're listening there. But as always, thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.